In today's video, I'm going to give you some really simple checkpoints to look for in your release position just post-impact and how that's going to really help you hit some straighter golf shots. Make sure you check out this video. Two half swings and try and get the same sensation through impact, head, body, chest rotating. You can see the... Welcome back to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today in the studio. And today's video, as I mentioned there in the intro, is all going to be about the release position. So what's actually happening just through and post impact here. And we're going to go through some checkpoints that I would look for at this parallel position, this first parallel position past impact, because that's a real good indication of what impact was like. It's very hard, / impossible, to really be stopping at impact with any power. We could try and stop at impact quite falsely, but we're not really going to get the idea of what impact's like. So here tells me a lot about what that was like. And if I can get the checkpoints correct here, I know that impact had a lot of what I would like to see to make me strike the ball better, hit the ball a little bit straighter, a little bit more reliable, a little bit more consistent as well. I'm going to demonstrate today's video with a mid-iron, but this is relevant with any golf clubs. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about iron or driver. If you're new to my channel, you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to my channel, at least 2 instructional videos a week. And the social media info for me is also just coming along the bottom of the screen. Jump over, check me out on there, lots of other golf content that's really going to help your game this season. So, as I said, I'm going to give you some checkpoints for this position, just post-impact, and we're going to jump straight into that now. So what I ask a lot of players to do is to put a cane at the back of their heels. So I'm just going to use this orange tour stick, and that's going to sit at the back of my heels. And I'm going to have most of it towards the target side. I'm going to use this one in a minute, not just yet. And I'm going to ask people to hit the shot and actually try and hold the... We're only going to do a little quarter swing. Hold the position here, okay? So when the club is almost going to be parallel to this orange cane, this tour stick at the back of my heels. Now, for a lot of golfers, that feels like the club has gone a lot more around their body. So for me as a right-handed player, more round to the left, because I get a lot of golfers almost trying to swing too much down the target line, and then we see the end of the grip pointing back at the camera here. I really want your hands and the club to work on an arc. The club is actually only swinging down the target line for a teeny little bit of our golf swing. Our club is swinging to the right, swinging to the right, swinging to the right, straight, to the left, to the left, to the left for a right-handed golfer, the opposite for a lefty, on an arc shape. So we want the club to come up and actually reach this cane here at the back of my heels. So that's one checkpoint we're looking for, okay? At that stage as well, I would like to see, when the club is about parallel to the ground, I'd like to see the toe of the golf club straight up in the air, rather than the club face pointing down or the club face pointing up. I'd like to see the toe straight up vertical, so the leading edge is vertical there. And the other checkpoint, and if you get the other 2 bits right, this should happen anyway, but another checkpoint I look for is my forearms are relatively level. Now, my lead arm is going to be slightly higher than my trail arm, but I see a lot of golfers with a lead arm much, much higher. We start to see this elbow chicken wing out start to stay very high through impact. Or you get the odd few golfers, perhaps where the right arm's climbed over the left, okay? So the trail arm climbing over the lead arm. So I'd like to feel like my forearms are finishing a bit more level. Now, to allow me that to happen, my head has got to start to rotate. If my head stays down, this arm will always stay high. So I've got to allow my head to rotate. I've got to allow my lead side to start to extend. So there's a few other bits in there happening automatically because I'm focusing on these checkpoints. The checkpoints again were the club shaft parallel to the cane at the back of my heels, the toe vertical, and my forearms are going to be more level. As I said, to allow that to happen, you will see my head and chest is starting to rotate. So I'd start by just doing some little chippy swings, some little quarter swings holding that finish position. When I ask people to do this, they all hit it too far to start with, and they don't stop here, they stop up here, which makes it very hard to test. So I've got to move this a bit closer to my heels, parallel to my target line, and I'm just going to do a little quarter swing stopping here. Now that club shaft is parallel to the back of my heels. The toe is straight up, and you'll have seen from the face-on angle that my forearms were more level. I allowed my head and my chest to rotate. So it's a really neutral release position. It tells me a lot about what happened here at impact. So let me do that again. Little chippy swing. Body's turned and rotated. You can see a pretty neutral ball flight. You know, I only hit that 6-iron 75 yards. Head and chest are rotated. Club shaft's parallel to the back of my heels. Toes straight up. My forearms are more level. So a really good, simple 3 things I'm looking for there in my release position tells me a lot about impact. What I'd also know, if I get to that position and that looks good, but the ball's missing right, I've got a pretty good indication that it's because the club face is open before I hit it. Because actually, if the face was open pre-impact, I'd need a lot more hands and arms through impact to try and close that club face, or I'd really have to work my body very, very hard through impact. So if I know this is neutral, but the ball flight's not as I want it, I'd have to look at that club face pre-impact. Pre-impact at the last parallel position, I'd like the club face more matching my spine angle, so slightly turned down. A fault I often see is the face open. So with an open face, if I get that nice neutral release position here, you can see that ball flight's gone to the right of the target, and actually I've still got an open club face here, so I'd have had to have worked a bit harder through impact. So I'd look at post-impact, try and get that very neutral, but then look at the ball flight. If the ball's to the right or to the left, that tells you something about what that face was like before you hit the golf ball. And we'd start to look at that. I'm not going to cover it too much now, through wrist angles, okay, affecting the club face. Now I will put some links in this video discussing wrist angles and club face pre-impact, so if it's a fault of yours, jump over to those videos as well, well worth checking out. But in today's video, I just want to keep it as simple as talking about this release position. Once you've got those checkpoints down, and we can do it in those little quarter swings, yeah, we can start to put a little bit more speed into it, but just going to try and get through this movement. Now, obviously, if I finish longer than this, the club is now going to be more behind my hands and the club face is going to be pointing more down, so it's very difficult. But what you can do, once you've done those little chippy swings, just finishing here, is just try and put them into half swings. And try and get the same sensation through impact, head, body, chest rotating. You can see the club's finishing a little bit higher. And then longer and longer 3/4 into full. You may well start to feel, and this is a great feel for you, a great visual, like Tommy Fleetwood, a very low left sawn off finish position. For anyone who's been trying to swing down the target line, that's exactly what I want you to try and get, is the feeling that you're rotating and finishing more left. Now, a similar way of doing that exercise that I like is just using the wall behind you. So if the wall was on my backside here, and I'd hold the club the wrong way around just so you don't belt the metal end into the wall, I want you to try and get the feeling that your hands and the club, so it's going to be the grip end now, hit the wall at the same time. Okay, so if it was this sort of release pattern where the club hits the wall first, you would expect to see the right arm, for me, the trail arm passing the left, and the club face close, the ball flight, for me, going to the left of the target, more of a hook. If you saw the hands were hitting the wall first, the club was way outside, you'd expect to see a very held off finish position. Pushes, fades, slices, so for me as a right-handed player, more to the right of the target. So a very neutral release would feel like I'm going to hit the wall at the same time. That could just be the back of a couch, something along those lines. We're just going to finish with those checkpoints one last time, just because it's so vital. So I want you to hold this finish position where the club is parallel to the ground. We're getting the club shaft matching the orange lines, so the cane at the back of my heels. The toe is straight up and my forearms are more level. To allow that to happen, my head and chest are rotating. Look at what the ball flight then tells you. If it's going right or left, I would then look at the club face pre-impact. But learn what the club's doing through the golf ball. It definitely isn't swinging down the target line, And if you're someone who is getting a very handsy release, the right arm, the trail arm passing the left very quick, you're really going to struggle controlling that face. So I'm not suggesting there isn't hands and arms, but I want the engine to be what the body is doing through that part. As I mentioned at the start, if this video has been of help, hit the thumbs up. share it with as many golfers as you can. Check out some of my other content, and don't forget, I'll put my teeth back in to subscribe.